And it's great to have you at the annual Innovation Congressional Lab event. It's wonderful to see such a robust number of attendees. I think we're now over 125. And I know that spans the breadth of our research, food security, and nutrition folks that are from across the U.S. government, innovation labs, our CGIAR, and other partner organizations. Every year we gather together to celebrate the incredible accomplishments of the Feed the Future Innovation Labs. And through these partnerships, cutting edge research, technologies, and techniques from U.S. universities are being applied around the world in places most in need, and are central to our ultimate goal of ending poverty, hunger, and malnutrition. Your lab's research enables us to build stronger food systems through which we can respond to and overcome today's compounding crises: COVID-19 and other infectious diseases, climate change, malnutrition, and inequality. American innovation and ingenuity is identifying solutions to these challenges and helping to feed millions of people around the world. This event is timely, right? I mean, given the sequence of food security and nutrition events this year. Just last week, we wrapped up the UN Food Systems Summit and the UN General Assembly. And it was at the UN General Assembly where the president announced a significant commitment to end global hunger and malnutrition. He announced a $10 billion US government commitment over the next 5 years, split roughly 50-50 between domestic and international. And that's a $5 billion commitment over 5 years to feed the future. So today, you're going to hear from champions both in research and in Congress who understand that research holds a critical part to the fight to end hunger and malnutrition. And I hope you leave this meeting feeling energized and hopeful about our future and how you can support USAID's work. Before we get into today's event, I'd like to thank Kansas State University and the Sustainable Intensification Innovation Lab for hosting the event. Today, in addition to our esteemed colleagues at Kansas State University, I'm thrilled to welcome several distinguished members of Congress: Chris Milligan, the counselor to USAID, and several Innovation Lab directors who will be speaking a bit later. So thanks again for everyone for joining and celebrating the achievements of U.S. universities and researchers around the country. Now, I'd like to turn to Richard Myers, the president of Kansas State University, to provide opening remarks and introduce the senators from Kansas. President Myers serves as Kansas State University's 14th president. He also had a distinguished military career, and he retired as a 4-star general. He served as the 15th chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and was a principal military advisor to the U.S. President, Secretary of Defense, and the National Security Council. President Myers, it's an honor to be with you here today.
Well, thank you, Jim, for your gracious introduction. It's actually a great honor for me to be here today to welcome everyone to the Feed the Future Innovation Lab's virtual congressional event, and to share just a few remarks on behalf of Kansas State University, as well as celebrate with our congressional guests, partners, and colleagues from across the nation and the world. And Jim, I'm already inspired, just your opening, just the thought of the impact that everybody on this call and their organizations have had on the world and on world hunger is probably unprecedented, really. And of course, we're in unprecedented times with a noble and worthy task ahead of us to tackle some of the world's greatest food security and nutrition challenges. The theme of the event, the future of food security, rising to the challenge, in my mind, is a perfect reminder of how we must work together to fight global hunger, and with the generous support and commitment of the United States Agency for International Development. We are well on our way with your support, and we thank you for that. And here's an advertisement for the way we're doing things, the way the United States is doing things with our international partners. No major problem in the world, and hunger is certainly one of them, can be solved by one person, one group, one entity. It takes many, many partnerships. And this probably could serve as a really good role model how to tackle the biggest problems that our world has, hunger being one of them. But it's a great role model to how would you do this? Well, I think USAID, Congressional help, all the institutions that are represented. I think we have a pretty good formula for how you do this. And I'm proud to be part of it. Here at K-State, of course, we've been privileged to collaborate with national and international partners from across the globe to produce groundbreaking research. We've been awarded a growing number of large multi-state, multinational grants with an international and interdisciplinary focus, particularly in the areas of global food, health, and biosecurity. We were able to build the Biosecurity Research Institute here at K-State, a level 3 biosafety lab, which allows us to work on food safety, foodborne pathogens, and animal diseases. And the United States has also built a level 4 facility, the National BioAgra Defense Facility, that is preparing to open in 2022. And just coincidentally, it's right next to our BRI level 3 operation. Through the strength of our land grant mission, expertise from our leading researchers, and a solid foundation from our administrators and staff, we are proud to be the home of our Feed the Future Innovation Labs. Our labs focus on sustainable intensification, applied wheat genomics, the reduction of post-harvest loss, and sorghum and millet. They have helped develop innovations promoting agricultural sustainability and resiliencies in countries from East and West Africa, Southeast Asia, and Latin America. These innovation labs have allowed K-State to take on a significant role in global leadership and coordination on these topics in our target countries and also among U.S. universities. And we're proud and happy to collaborate with everybody. These managed partnerships with 24 other U.S. universities, 24 foreign universities, 47 private sector partners, 10 U.S. non-governmental organizations, 8 other innovation labs, and 49 international organizations, including national and regional programs, demonstrated what I was saying earlier. It takes a lot of us to solve the world's biggest problems. And that, I don't know what that list adds up to. I should have done it. That's a lot of organizations, and that's what it takes. And the fact that we all work together and collaborate for the good of this world is truly inspiring. We view this work as long-term commitment to partnerships with foreign nations and Feed the Future collectively. Our work has brought a healthy investment to K-State, of course, but also inspired a new global food systems initiative to extend research opportunities across our university. This work could not be more timely as supply chains are disrupted and more people are going hungry because of the impact of the COVID-19 virus. At K-State, we believe it takes a village to keep a large, vibrant public research university alive and well. Our village is a family, and our leadership is the family's first line of defense and support. Therefore, I would like to take this opportunity to showcase a couple of our key leaders responsible for supporting these innovation labs. First, our Provost and Executive Vice President, Chuck Tabor, and the Dean of our College of Agriculture and Director of K-State Research and Extension, Ernie Minton. We trust in our leadership to supply the innovation, efficiency, and foresight necessary for forward progress, which is exactly what Chuck and Ernie have done and continue to do. And again, thank you to USAID for your confidence in our institution and all the other institutions and organizations that commit to these research activities. Through our continued partnership, we will continue to forge a path that utilizes cutting-edge research and innovative extension approaches to rise to the challenge of improving food security from Kansas to Cambodia. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize Senators Jerry Moran and Roger Marshall. They have both graciously provided a video sharing their thoughts and praise of the Feed the Future program and how the efforts and innovation labs contribute not only to the state of Kansas and beyond, but around the world. Here in Kansas, we are fortunate to have strong leadership and unwavering support from our legislators. I will begin by saying just a few words about Senator Jerry Moran. Senator Moran was elected to the United States Senate in 2010. Since joining the U.S. Senate, he has been a leading advocate for protecting and preserving the special way of life in Kansas. Currently, he serves as the ranking member of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee and works to improve the quality of life of more than 200,000 veterans living in Kansas and across the nation. In his role on the Appropriations Subcommittee, Senator Moran prioritizes resources for a variety of agricultural programs and is a champion for agricultural research. Senator Roger Marshall is a former congressman for Kansas's Big First District, a physician, devoted father, grandfather, and husband. He's a fifth-generation kid growing up in Butler County. Dr. Marshall became the first in his family to attend college, and after graduating from Butler County Community College, I'm pleased to say he received his bachelor's degree from Kansas State University, and then received his medical doctorate from the University of Kansas. Currently, Senator Marshall is the ranking member of on the Committee of Conservation, Climate, Forestry, and Natural Resources. And both Senators Moran and Marshall have always demonstrated their strong support of our land-grant institution and our efforts towards fostering excellence in teaching, research, and service that develop a highly skilled and educated citizen necessary to advancing the well-being of Kansas, the nation, and our international community. So on that note, please join me in listening to their own words by watching their prepared videos. And once again, Jim, I want to thank you and everybody on this call. This partnership arrangement, all these entities that are trying to deal with the challenge of world hunger is so important. And this group can do it. We've got the talent across the world in many countries, many organizations. We can do this. I think it's a great role model for how to solve some of our Earth's biggest problems. Thank you.
I thank you for the opportunity to speak today to Feed the Future Innovation Lab's congressional event. To meet the challenge of world hunger both today and in the future, a key focus must be on helping farmers across the globe to be more efficient and more productive. Feed the Future Innovation Labs harness the knowledge and expertise of researchers at U.S. universities to build stronger food systems and to combat global food insecurity. I'm proud that Kansas State University, the home of 4 Feed the Future Innovation Labs, is leading the way in this important effort. K-State's lab work on sorghum, wheat, post-harvest loss, and sustainable intensification, as well as the cutting-edge research at more than 20 innovation labs across the country, will play a critical role in the efforts to increase agricultural production by 60% by 2050, the estimated increase necessary to meet food needs of a growing world population. As the co-chair of the Senate Hunger Caucus and a member of the State and Foreign Operations Appropriations Subcommittee, I'll continue to prioritize funding for Feed the Future Innovation Labs because fighting global hunger is the morally right thing to do. It is also the smart thing to do as it promotes stability in areas of the world important to our national strategic interests, making America safer and more secure. Further, the knowledge that stems from Feed the Future Innovation Labs builds the foundation for a better future in agriculture. For example, research that helps fight contagious pests and diseases overseas also protects U.S. farmers here at home and makes our producers all the more successful. America is the most generous nation in the world, and Kansans from Dwight Eisenhower to Bob Dole have understood our nation's important role in feeding a hungry world. We must not lose focus or waver in our commitment to solve world hunger, and that starts with agriculture. Thank you for your work to find solutions to some of the most challenging issues our world faces. I look forward to continuing to partner with you in the fight against global hunger.
Good afternoon. I'm Senator Dr. Roger Marshall, and I want to welcome everyone to the Feed the Future Innovation Congressional event. As an alumni of the ever optimistic and fighting Wildcats, I'm proud Kansas State is home to 4 Feed the Future Innovation Labs, all of which represent a diverse array of research opportunities in food production. I'm also proud of the work of land-grant universities and higher education institutions in this country, which are instrumental in feeding people all over the world, in addition to providing the education and skills to help those people become self-sufficient. As a member of the Senate Agriculture and Health Committees, I have the unique opportunity to influence the policy that food is medicine. As someone who represents the great state of Kansas, I understand our food production plays a vital role in fighting global hunger and supporting livelihoods. I'll continue to leverage my position in the U.S. Senate and bolster your work in fighting food insecurity worldwide. Thank you to all the Feed the Future lab faculty and staff who work each day to bring prosperity and the means to live a productive, healthy life all across the planet. I hope you all enjoy today's congressional event.
Wow, that was inspiring. President Myers, Senator Moran, Senator Marshall, those remarks really help, I think, energize quite a number of us on this, certainly on this call. Certainly, the continued support that we have from our partners and colleagues on Capitol Hill is indispensable in making our mission possible. So that's wonderful. And President Myers, I loved your statement about from Kansas to Cambodia. I mean, that says it all in terms of using homegrown American ingenuity to spark transformation globally. Truly wonderful words. Thank you so much. So now I want to hand over to the counselor for USAID, which is the senior officer, Foreign Service officer at our agency, Mr. Chris Milligan. Chris is, as I noted, a senior Foreign Service officer, highest rank within our agency, and has a wealth of experience at USAID from Madagascar, Burma, Haiti, Indonesia, Zimbabwe, Ecuador, and Iraq, and has held leadership positions both in Washington and the field. And Chris, it's an honor to have you with us to deliver our keynote and to make a few announcements. Over to you.
Thank you, Jim. And I want to echo your thanks to Senators Marshall and Moran for their messages of support and encouragement. We are so grateful for the continued bipartisan congressional support for Feed the Future. I would also like to thank KSU for hosting this event today. And President Myers, thank you for your remarks. And thank you for the collaborative work of KSU in promoting life-changing innovations that are impacting on the livelihoods of so many around the world. I'm really excited to be here today on behalf of USAID and Feed the Future to announce several new partnerships and also highlight the work Feed the Future is doing all around the world on food security, on nutrition, on lifting people out of poverty. USAID has a decades-long history of agricultural research and innovation. Our Feed the Future Innovation Labs unleash the full power of US universities and their research programs to solve global hunger. As America's flagship food security program, Feed the Future combats global hunger and malnutrition by unlocking the full potential of the agricultural sector, which in turn transforms local economies, and it helps meet the growing demand for food while strengthening resilience. As we know, and as I've seen firsthand in some of the countries that Jim just mentioned, agriculture is a proven pathway out of poverty for developing countries. Growth in agriculture is up to 4 times more effective at reducing poverty than that in other sectors. We recognize that we are facing unprecedented challenges that require American innovation and research, challenges from the impact of COVID-19 to those stemming from a rapidly changing climate. And these challenges impact nearly every aspect of our work. And as President Myers just remarked, will take all of us working together to resolve. For example, we know that without significant and immediate climate action, global crop yields could decrease by as much as 30% by 2050. The scale of that disruption necessitates our work in the Feed the Future Innovation Labs. We must get smarter and find more sustainable methods for growing and distributing food. In low and middle income countries, about 2.5 billion people depend on climate sensitive activities like agriculture and fisheries. Smart climate adaptation is critical to strengthening resilience around the world and protecting the years of development progress. All of these efforts require expansive and innovative research. Much of that work is conducted by the Feed the Future Innovation Labs. For example, in Nepal, the Livestock Systems Innovation Lab, led by the University of Florida, developed a livestock feeding app for small dairy producers that increases milk production by 14%. And now this lab has been so successful that the government of Nepal plans to bring it to scale. Another example is in Malawi, a country where dietitians and nutritionists are in short supply. Our Feed the Future Innovation Lab for Nutrition, led by Tufts University, partnered with the Malawi government and local universities to develop and implement the first ever dietetics program in the country. This lab also helped establish 27 dietitian positions in hospitals serving critically ill patients. These are just a few of the many examples of US research and innovation impacting lives across the globe. Together with our innovation labs and global partners, we are building sustainable farming systems that provide healthy, safe, and affordable food. This work is also critical for keeping America on the cutting edge of research and innovation. Right now, there are 22 US university-led Feed the Future Innovation Labs, supported by over 70 top US colleges and universities, all working to meet the food security challenges of the coming decades. We work on everything from food safety to fisheries, from livestock to nutrition. And we are excited, very excited to announce that we will be adding to those partnerships here today. So I am proud to announce one new Innovation Lab award and also highlight another innovation lab that Administrator Power just announced at last week's UN Food Systems Summit. First, we know that horticulture is renowned for its unique ability to deliver in three key areas. One, higher economic and income growth through production on small plots. Two, high connectivity to the commercial sector. And finally, high nutritional benefits. These aspects are essential parts of any food security program. And that's why I'm excited to announce that the Feed the Future Innovation Lab for Horticulture was awarded to the University of California, Davis. This $34.5 million program will increase the productivity of small-scale horticultural producers through sustainability, storage, and commercial innovations, all while promoting climate-smart farms. So congratulations. Next, I want to highlight a recent announcement on the Feed the Future Innovation Labs for Food Systems for Nutrition, which was awarded to Tufts University last week at the UN Food Systems Summit. This $25 million award, with an additional $15 million in potential funding, will build on 10 years of leadership at Tufts and develop new research to inform food systems transformation that will promote optimal nutrition, particularly for mothers and children. So congratulations. I want to take this time to highlight two smaller grants that are important to Feed the Future's work. First, I'm very excited to announce that the Feed the Future Innovation Lab for Soybean Value Chain Research, led by the University of Illinois, will receive an Innovation to Impact Associate Award for $5 million. This will ensure that Feed the Future projects and technologies build stronger partnerships with the commercial sector, including crops, livestock, poultry, and aquaculture. So congratulations. And I'm also thrilled to announce an associate award for the Minority Serving Institutions Fellowship to the Feed the Future Innovation Lab for Crop Improvement, led by Cornell University. This award will support engagement with minority serving institutions and provide a model for faculty on culturally appropriate mentorship and nurturing the talents of all students. Through this award, fellows will conduct food security research and support international development, growing skills and networks while contributing to a reduction in hunger, in malnutrition, and in poverty. Importantly, this fellowship underscores USAID's commitment to elevate the importance of diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in our work. The full potential of our programs cannot be realized without a workforce and partners that truly reflect the diversity of our great country. Together, these innovation labs will conduct critically important research and develop new methods to address the many challenges we face in horticulture, nutrition, commercial partnerships, and food loss and waste. I want to conclude my remarks by once again congratulating these wonderful institutions. And I have to say, we cannot wait to see what innovations and insights your research discovers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. I truly appreciated your reflections, particularly your time in the field and how you experienced the types of activities that we're promoting through our innovation labs and in addressing food security and malnutrition. So thank you for that. And thank you for sharing the new award announcements. You know, building off of President Biden's food security and nutrition announcement during the UN General Assembly, you know, we're thrilled to highlight the new horticulture and food systems for nutrition innovation labs. Congratulations to UC Davis and to Tufts University. And we look forward to continuing our partnership with you and seeing the results of this critical research. So in recognition of these awards, I'd like to introduce Representative John Garamendi, who joins us from the 3rd District of California. Within Congress, Representative Garamendi is a champion for ending poverty and hunger and has a wealth of government experience. He served on the House Agriculture Committee and helped shape the Farm Bill. He previously served as the Secretary of the Department of Interior under the Clinton administration and has also served in California State Senate and as a representative. It is a pleasure to have you, Representative Garamendi, and we'll pass it over to you for comments.
Hello, this is Congressman John Garamendi of California. I've been there. I've been there in the famines. I remember so clearly the woman next to the grain truck that had delivered the critical USAID food to the famine camp in Ethiopia in the mid-'80s. She was picking up each kernel that had slipped out of the bag. She had hoped to get enough to survive. She probably didn't. Food insecurity is found in every part of this world, in the famines around the world, and in our own country. We've got work to do. And the Feed the Future food innovation laboratories are absolutely critical. And I know that all of you that are on this conference, you understand that. And I just want you to know how critically important it is that we continue to do the research, that the innovation labs produce the food of the future, the ones and the crops that are resistant to all kinds of pests, all kinds of mold, and also the storage and supply systems that support that food delivery around the world. So stay with it. I don't ever want to have to go back to a famine camp, although I know I will. I don't ever want to see a child hungry in our own country, although I know I will. But I know you and I and others are determined to try to reduce that problem. So please stay with it. We're counting on you. Thank you.
No, inspiring words from Representative Garamendi. Voices like his are critical for elevating the awareness of and importance of these issues, both at home and abroad, as he just said. Now I'd like to pass the mic to the director of the new Horticulture Innovation Lab, Beth Mitchum, for remarks. Director Mitchum is the extension specialist and post-harvest pomologist in the Department of Plant Sciences at the University of California, Davis. She served as director of the former UC Davis-led Horticulture Innovation Lab program from 2009 to 2019. So Director Mitchum, over to you.
Thank you, Jim. It's my pleasure to be with all of you today. UC Davis is excited to lead the new Feed the Future Innovation Lab for Horticulture. The program will work with and promote local leadership in communities across the globe to advance fruit and vegetable and social innovations for nutritional and financial security. Horticulture offers big nutrition and health, economic and environmental benefits, as we've heard from other speakers, including you, Jim. UC Davis will be leading an outstanding global consortia that will be able to make big impacts on developing sustainable local expertise and innovative technical and social solutions to empower horticultural producers and their communities. UC Davis will be joined in a consortia with Horticulture A&M University, Michigan State University, Texas A&M, and the World Vegetable Center, along with subject matter experts from Penn State University and Making Sense International, who will help us to manage this program. We'll also collaborate with CNFA and the International Fertilizer Development Center, among others, to help scale program innovations. A locally led, globally supported framework will be used to support our research that will emphasize the development of environmentally sustainable and market-oriented production and post-harvest methods that reduce food loss and waste, while also focusing on women and youth in horticulture value chains where there are many opportunities, and better understanding the economic trade-offs and human behavior change for healthier diets. Our local-led approach will support and engage regional leadership to develop and drive the most appropriate research for each community. Within the UC Davis Consortia are partners and specialists with expertise in horticulture, agronomics, agri-sociology, agribusiness, and agri-policy. The Horticulture Innovation Lab will convene these global, regional, and local experts to determine research needs in selected geographic locations. Once these research needs are identified, the team will emphasize a holistic, locally led approach to building community resilience and to support inclusivity. We're very grateful to USAID for selecting UC Davis to once again lead the Feed the Future Innovation Lab for Horticulture, and look forward to working with the broader community to achieve our program goals. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Mitchum. We're excited to launch this lab's research on increasing productivity of small-scale producers. And I love the way you emphasize the issue of scaling the innovation, adoption, and getting to the greatest extent possible an inclusive approach that brings in marginal populations and making it a locally led process that then we see a multiplicative effect going forward. So thanks for that. Now I'd like to introduce Dr. Patrick Webb, the director of the Food Systems for Nutrition Innovation Lab, housed at Tufts University. Dr. Webb is the Alexander McFarland Professor of Nutrition at the Friedman School of Nutrition Science and Policy. Dr. Webb, over to you.
Thank you so much, Jim, and thank you to all the organizers for this excellent celebration. So I'm going to talk very briefly about the winding up of two phases of the Nutrition Innovation Lab, which ends actually this week. And then a little bit about the future in terms of the next Food Systems for Nutrition Innovation Lab. Now, nutrition matters to all of our innovation labs, not just because of the nutrients in the foods, but achieving the nutrition outcomes that we want to see, particularly in mothers and children, requires a lot more than simply making the right foods available. Professor Will Masters, a colleague here at Tufts, who's been a core member of the Nutrition Innovation Lab, has led groundbreaking work on assessing the affordability, for example, of healthy diets globally. And his research team found that 3 billion people today, that's 1/3 of the entire planet's population, cannot afford a basic healthy diet based on today's prices and today's income levels. That horrible metric, that horrible statistic, 3 billion people can't even afford it if they want it. That metric has been taken up by the United Nations as an annual measure of progress, or not, over the next decades, as we try to not just feed people and resolve hunger, which remains essential, but nourish people to promote health, productivity, and well-being. And how do we do that? Well, of course, by increasing productivity. All the innovation labs are working on that, yes, but also by producing more of the kinds of foods that we all need to eat more of, and that's myself included, nutrient-rich foods that are safe, that provide all the needed nutrients, not just calories. But that's not enough. We also need to increase people's purchasing power by tackling poverty, reduce their uncertainty by increasing resilience, and of course, by ensuring that all nutrients that go into food systems through foods of all kinds stay in the food system all the way to the consumer. If they're lost, then they have to be produced again with all kinds of costs and externalities associated. So tackling food loss and waste, as well as food safety, become key elements supporting nutrition. Now, the Nutrition Innovation Lab has spent 10 years focused on these kinds of issues. That included close partnership with Tuskegee, Purdue, Harvard, and Johns Hopkins. We've been generating cutting-edge, rigorous evidence of many kinds to support USAID design better programs and to support national governments to design better policies to address their own problems. For example, we've documented the strengths and potential weaknesses of various approaches to multi-sector programming, where improved mother and child nutrition is a goal. That's bringing together agriculture and WASH and education and literacy. We've documented the value added of, say, USAID investments where they combine two kinds, horticulture combined with pond aquaculture, and we collaborated with the horticulture lab in this to improve diets. Bringing the two together gives much more value added for improved diet diversity and quality than either alone or none, both through people consuming those foods and through market engagement. So combined effects, multiplier effects of doing more. And then finally, a focus on mycotoxins, aflatoxins, those naturally born molds, in naturally occurring foodborne molds. This is not just an agriculture and trade concern, but it's a public health concern. We've followed many thousands of pregnant women in Uganda and Nepal living where mycotoxins are prevalent in the diet to document what happened to them and to their children. And we've been among the first to document that we have to act system-wide to clean up food systems where people eat. It's not just a farm problem, but we have to act in markets and in businesses. Aflatoxins are everywhere in the topics, and the Nutrition Lab has demonstrated that it's a nutrition concern. Women with more aflatoxin in their blood through what they eat had worse birth outcomes through low birth weight and small for gestational age and so on, than those who had low levels, and their children were at much higher risk of being stunted or having stunted growth. In other words, this practically invisible threat through the food system has to be tackled to improve both health and nutrition. And by generating this kind of evidence, we can bring the health and agriculture and trade and finance ministries to work together to resolve the problems. Now, building capacity of governments to do that is critical. We've trained 60 plus PhDs and master's students, but it's much more than that, right? It's about training and building institutional capacity. You just heard Chris Milligan mention our work in Malawi, responding to the national government wanting us to help set up the country's first accredited training for dietitians. And more important almost than that was the government's being so impressed by the outcome that they created dietetics jobs they're in the process of all the hospitals in the country and funded those for each graduate of the program. And that is sustained impact. That's what we have to seek and aim for. But now to the future. I'm so proud to be entrusted by Feed the Future and USAID to take on the new challenges facing us as director of the new Food Systems for Nutrition Innovation Lab. And that brings us back to that issue of keeping nutrients in the food system. The evidence base of what works in the value chain to promote and protect nutrient-rich foods is growing. It's growing rapidly, but scaling and uptake are lagging. So we need to combine research for development on technology and best practice innovations to support production and distribution of safe and high quality foods. But we have to work with the private sector and with policymakers very closely to promote awareness, understanding, and demand for the innovations that can be produced. And that's what this new lab is going to be focusing on. Of course, it requires us to work with all the innovation labs so we can achieve much more together than we can alone. And then finally, let me point out that this new lab is taking very seriously this Innovation Lab Council's commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. We've incorporated into the work of this new lab several umbrella networks of minority serving institutions to work with us from the very beginning all the way through. That includes the 1890 Foundation of Historically Black Colleges and Universities, the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities, and the American Indian Higher Education Consortium. So with these key players who have so many strengths and skills and insights to offer, they will strengthen the work of our lab, the work of all the labs, to contribute to Feed the Future more broadly. And I cannot wait to get started and achieve everything that we hope to achieve in the coming few years. And I'll pass back to you, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Webb. I love the points, and you know, you made the case better than many that I've heard over the last couple of weeks about highlighting the value of looking at a problem from a food systems angle and thinking about nutrition as synced up with agriculture and trade and how that all needs to come together to address a fundamental need of whether it's reducing aflatoxins in the bloodstream or just promoting healthy diets for women and children and everyone. So I'm really very happy that we were able to announce this new innovation lab and continue in investing in food systems transformation and promoting promoting nutrition and healthy, safe, affordable diets for mothers and children. And kudos to you for, again, elevating diversity, equity, inclusion, and access as a central point to the Innovation Labs work going forward. So thank you for that. So we're thrilled, super thrilled to have both the Food Systems for Nutrition and the Horticulture Innovation Labs join the community. As Chris Milligan, our counselor, mentioned, the announcements bring us to 22 active labs, 22. The work that all the innovation labs are doing is truly critical to the future of climate resilient and sustainable food systems and security and nutrition for all. So we look forward to continuing this work with you all and building off our commitments from last week at the Food Systems Summit at the UN General Assembly. You know, let's get the work done now. It's time for implementation. So this is where the rubber hits the road, and we're all going to be held to account. So let's start figuring out how we can continue to work together, as Dr. Webb just mentioned, in terms of bringing together our different labs that focus on different pieces, but that all need to come together to have a solution that's greater than the individual parts. So this fall is an exciting one. The events keep coming. We have soon, we hope, our updated launch of our global food security strategy. And then, of course, in December, we have the Nutrition for Growth Summit in December. And between that, we will have COP26, which also has very important ramifications for food systems. That brings us to the end of today's event. Thanks to all of our speakers, esteemed members of Congress, Innovation Lab directors, and partners in our audience, and particularly to Kansas State University and Councilor Milligan. Kansas State, thank you for making this event possible today. President Meyer, your words were inspiring, and we are very much looking forward to continuing working with you in the future. So thank you all, and have a good rest of your day.